you just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker. Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark. Even got that homebrew flowing.
Tonight, a rural community shocked by teenager's death. Fiji reinstated into Commonwealth days after election. And Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama meets UN Secretary General as elected leader. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. This is FBC News. Police are investigating the death of a 14-year-old girl who was found dead in a vacant house at Waimalika settlement in Viria, Neitasiri. The girl had been reported missing 2 days ago, but by the time police tracked down her whereabouts yesterday, it was too late. Savaira Tambur reports the victim was a Form 3 student attending high school in Nosori.
This is where police found the dead teenager last night, in a pool of blood, while her alleged attacker, a 35-year-old man, lay inside the same house. FBC News visited the community in Neitasiri today and was able to speak with the wife of the alleged attacker. Swastika Devi claims the deceased and the suspect had known each other. FBC News has deliberately muted portions of this interview.
Some of my families from Viria came. They came from there. They were coming up, so the policemen they sent them away. And they told my mother-in-law about the incident. So my mother-in-law came running to my house crying that my name is Moni. She told me, Moni, something has happened there. So I asked her what happened. She said, my husband, she made a... He have done himself murder.
Police say the wounds were self-inflicted after officers found this house in search of the victim.
The likely suspect, which was found lying beside that student, is now under guard at the CWM hospital, and the body of the student, the deceased, was removed from the scene after our scene of crime, and also the doctor that went to visit the scene. We should be expecting a result of the post-mortem as soon as possible, just to assist in our investigations.
Devi says no one suspected anything was wrong until police showed up last night. The suspect himself had been reported missing from home since Wednesday, even though he was found cooped up in a house right next to his family home.
On Wednesday, he was very lenient to me. He took me, he told me to go and bring the water from there. From there, we came back home. Came down to the well. We took the water to home.
It's believed that police were aware of the connection between the teenager and the 35-year-old man. ACP Risiati Tunravu says police traced the suspect's mobile phone to try and find his whereabouts.
When the police officers traced the call that was done, it was in a vacant house at Viria. So that is when they came in, and then they saw that he's still breathing. A very serious injury, and as I said, we're still monitoring his situation in the hospital.
A post-mortem of the victim is expected to be conducted on Monday. Sabaira Tambua, FBC News.
The Commonwealth has, after 8 years, reinstated Fiji as a full member following credible elections earlier this month. Ministers from the 53-nation organization made the decision yesterday after Voreqe Bainimarama was sworn in as Prime Minister on September 22nd following the elections. Edwin Nand has more.
Fiji's Foreign Minister Ratu Inoke Kumbuambola has responded to the lifting of the Commonwealth's suspension. Ratu Inoke says Fiji is grateful for the decision following on from the holding of free and fair democratic elections. The Foreign Minister has referred to the good work of the multinational observers who have cleared the election results to be credible and reflecting the wishes of the people of Fiji. He says the government will be giving due consideration to the implementation of the Commonwealth's lifting of the suspension. The London-based Commonwealth Secretariat confirms Fiji has been reinstated as a full member of the Commonwealth following a decision by the Ministerial Action Group at their meeting in New York. The group concluded that Fiji's suspension from the Commonwealth should be lifted in recognition of the credible election and the assumption of office by a democratically elected government. The Commonwealth has also congratulated the newly elected government of Vorenge Bainimarama and called on all stakeholders in Fiji to continue working together to strengthen the country's democratic culture, encourage opportunities for dialogue and national reconciliation. The Commonwealth suspended Fiji in 2006. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama is in New York in the United States to attend the 69th United Nations General Assembly. This is his first appearance at the UN as the elected leader of Fiji. Alan Stoltz reports.
We are heading towards Fiji's first genuinely democratic...
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama today met with the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon on the sidelines of the general debate of the 69th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The Secretary General congratulated the Prime Minister on the victory in the Fiji's recent general election. Ki-moon also congratulated Fiji for the free, fair and democratic manner in which the election was conducted. The Secretary General also says that he has no doubt that the democratic process will restore confidence that Fiji has a strong economic future ahead of it. Ki-moon also says he hopes Prime Minister Bainimarama and Fiji will continue to play a leadership role in the region, particularly as the world moves forward towards the challenge of the post-2015 development agenda. The Prime Minister commended the hard work of the 92 multinational observer group that monitored the election, which was co-led by Australia, Indonesia and India. He says that the election was done in accordance with the Fijian constitution, which establishes a common and equal citizenry. He'll be making an address to the United Nations Assembly tomorrow, Fiji time. For FBC News, I'm Ellen Stalls.
Now, Agriculture Minister Inia Seriratu visited drought-affected areas in the Central and Western Division today. Beginning from Nawasamu Tailevu to Nandi this afternoon, Seriratu says the situation is still under control and hasn't reached critical stage. However, he says crops and livestock have been affected to some extent. FBC News met up with the minister as he was about to leave Nandi to survey the Singatoka Valley this afternoon. Singatoka has been one of the areas worst affected by the dry spell. The Weather Office forecasts rain by next month to ease the drought. Coming up after the break, mobile phone company tells customers not to change SIM cards.
Gold FM, only the classic hits. Beautiful song from the group Firehouse and When I Look Into Your Eyes. Before that, you heard from Smokey Robinson with One Heartbeat. We'll take a short break and join us in the next hour for more music from Seal. Bula Blanca. I'm DJ Tora. Join me every weekdays, 7 until midnight on the Premium Classics. Right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome once again. Digicel says consumers need to be aware of the pitfalls of SIM swapping. Digicel Fiji CEO Darren McLean says they are aware that their SIM cards are being swapped by a rival phone company for one-time incentives, and this is affecting their business. Maggie Boyle has more.
Mobile network provider Digicel today blowing the whistle on SIM swapping, a marketing gimmick they see as an unfair practice.
And what this means is Digicel customers being approached in the street, on their doorsteps, in the parks, in the streets and so on, and asked to give up their Digicel SIM in return for some incentive. It's not a financial transaction, there's no purchase, it's effectively a bounty on a Digicel SIM.
McLean says the issue is serious and the company has gone so far as to lodge a formal complaint with the Telecommunications Authority of Fiji. TAF confirms they've received the complaint and are looking into it. McLean adding the public need to be more vigilant.
Every SIM in Fiji is registered to the user. To hand that over to someone that you don't know, that you don't necessarily trust, isn't a wise idea, because every piece of communications over that SIM, from the moment you register that SIM to now, till that SIM is destroyed, is you're responsible for. So I just advise anyone in Fiji being approached to swap their SIMs out, to think 3 times before handing them over, because they're responsible for any good, bad or otherwise usage across that over that SIM.
Questions repeatedly sent to the rival phone company for their response remain unanswered when this bulletin was prepared. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
4 men who allegedly murdered a Nawaidhomba carpenter in Nadi remain in custody since April as the trial continues at the Lautoka High Court. The 4 are Nandi businessman Rakesh Kumar and his employees Vinod Segwan, Maikeli Loko and Mataisi Ului. They allegedly assaulted Arun Vasudevan in April before he succumbed to his injuries and died at the Lautoka hospital. Their bail application had been refused and the case will now be called on October 17th. Young women from the Central Division put up a fashion show with a difference today. The Trendy Treasure Show, organized for the Relief Society organization, featured dresses made entirely of waste pieces of garment. Shireen Lata reports.
This annual fashion show brings together women from various divisions of the Anglican Church, the organizers of the event. These women spent weeks coming up with designs using only recycled garment.
This is actually my first experience, and I love my first experience because I learned a lot, and I learned how to make skirts. I used a lot of recycled recycled materials, and it's really useful.
This is my second time experiencing this, to be part of the Relief Society. Usually I come for young women because it's in stages.
The idea behind is to encourage people to recycle and save money. The response has been growing over the years.
Recycled material are very useful because nowadays it's very expensive to go to the shop and buy clothes, so we just use cut pieces from the factory. We went and bought them and we cut them into pieces, then we put them all together.
The program was opened by newly elected Minister for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Rosie Akbar.
The self-reliance movement needs a liberal advocate such as your church, not only in reasons but in approaches that makes a difference to the livelihoods of our people. I believe that moving people to be self-reliant equates to getting them out of poverty, misery, hopelessness and disadvantages.
Akbar acknowledged the work of the church in instilling the values of hard work in its members. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Hundreds turned up to watch FBC's comical trio from the Batanita Noah crew at their live performance at Churchill Park in Lautoka last night. The stadium was packed to capacity as people flocked to catch a glimpse of their favorite FBC personalities live on stage. The crowd laughed along and also joined the Batanita Noah crew on stage. The show has quickly become Fiji's most popular locally produced program, prompting FBC to take it closer to its viewers through live shows such as these. And coming up in sports, Nandrunga retain Fairbrother Trophy. And Fiji volleyball looks for support.
मेरा चांद मुझे आया है नजर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर। छाया है नशा मेरे आंखों पर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर। रह जाए ना प्यासा मेरा प्यार, मेरे बाहों में भर दे मेरा यार, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर। हाय मिर्ची एफएम पर मैं हूं जितेंद्र शांडिल। शामिल हो जाएगा हमारे साथ टू नाइट शो में Monday to Friday from 7 PM to 12 AM. मिर्ची एफएम it's fun. But you're never gonna get it तेरे हाथ कभी ना आनी। मनी ना मनी।
Leading sports tonight, the BLK Nandrunga rugby team has thumped Tailevu 57-0 to retain the HFC Bank Fairbrother Cup. The hosts only held an 8-0 lead at the break, but after the restart, the side didn't show any mercy to the Tailevu outfit, which had come into the match with a lot of confidence. Here are the highlights.
Went through Dava. Dava stepped aside and way out wide out the outside Fbctv. He got it out on cleanly out to Elias the returner. You can see him pin his ears back and he went right through. This attack through goes to Ludamalangi again and then across onto the left flank. Midiela reverse pass. Beautifully done and now we see the effect of it and eventually another try. Asala Navori across on to Fbctv. Fbctv in field. In it comes again to Lewabow. They're playing games with Tailevu and over went Lewabow. Here from Nanronga, they can get up to the inside the 22. The try is on and it's another try to Nanronga. As out it comes again, Mitieli Navangilevu is having a ball. He's having a feast. He's got it. He's got in underneath the post. Kuramundu. And then comes across onto the left flank, and there was Maputo who bounded his way. He got the last touch of the ball. He was in the money. Across left it goes, out into the open, and here going over is Tania, and Tania scores the try. Across on the left, anyhow, Fbctv gets it out wide, gave it on to Dava. Dava gets it out onto the left flank, and here again, we've got on the left wing, Samu Dava, and Dava goes in.
Namosi will be the next challenger taking on Nanronga next Saturday. Meanwhile, Lautoka has beaten Naitasiri North Bulls 22-10 to retain its position in the top-tier competition for 2015. The Fiji schoolboys rugby side has lost its first match in the Tri-Nations competition in New Zealand. Fiji was thumped 50-15 by the Australian schoolboys, who led 24-10 at half-time. Despite valiant attempts from the Fijian school side, the team was unable to keep pace with Australian schools, with a young man in goal taking out the match after a string of late tries by the Australian backs. Fiji takes on New Zealand in its second match on Tuesday. Now, with the countdown to the 2015 Pacific Games continuing, the Fiji volleyball teams have set their sights on a top-of-the-podium finish. However, the Fijian men's and women's sides are faced with the forever daunting task of getting the much-required finance to ensure smooth preparations. Indra Singh has more.
The Fijian volleyball teams have always been one of the top medal contenders in the regional competitions. But the age-old problem of finance seems to get harder to spike away as the preparations for the Pacific Games intensifies. However, with whatever little they have right now, the teams are putting in their best to ensure a podium finish in Papua New Guinea. The women are not too far behind, and with their champion mentor back, have set only one major goal. Both the teams have roped in a number of young players who they believe will unlock the path to success in 2015. So this bunch of hard-hitters from Fiji have taken it upon themselves to ensure they are not hindered by the ever-present problem of money. All they need is the support to bring back the gold to Fiji. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the Fiji beach volleyball team is looking at undertaking overseas tours in the build-up to the Pacific Games. The Fiji Beach Volleyball Association today started its weekly competition in Suva in a bid to select the best team to fly the Fiji flag in PNG in 2015. However, team officials say they need to take the side abroad to ensure the players are prepared up to par.
International Volleyball Federation, they have a list of tours, world tours, annually. In our lead-up preparation, we did identify the Chennai Open, which is in November, and the Gold Coast Open, which is in Feb of next year. As I mentioned earlier, due to budget constraints, we are still looking for sponsors to take us there.
Lotte Tungiri and the South Sydney Rabbitohs are through to the final of the National Rugby League competition in Australia. This after the side ended the Sydney Roosters title defence with a 32-22 win. In the process, the Bunnies have surged into their first grand final in 43 years with a stirring comeback win over the century-old rivals late last night. The Rabbitohs will play the winner of the Penrith Panthers and Canterbury Bulldogs match, which will be played today at 9:55 p.m. The new Australia Rugby competition, which sees clubs fight each other each week, has been hailed a success. With a number of Fijian players plying their trade in their competition, the Australia Rugby Union says they are happy with what they have seen so far. Generally cloudy periods with afternoon showers were experienced over the most parts of the country today. A weak trough of low pressure lies over Vanuatu. Meanwhile, a broad easterly wind flow prevails over most southwest Pacific island countries. Warm temperatures prevailed over the Fiji group, bar hitting a high of 34 degrees this afternoon. Tomorrow's forecast is for fine conditions in the morning, turning to afternoon and evening showers over most centres. Now the outlook for Monday, cloudy periods with brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. It will be fine elsewhere. Now recapping our main stories, police investigate the alleged murder of a 14-year-old girl who was reported missing 3 days ago. Her alleged attacker is admitted in hospital with self-inflicted injuries. Commonwealth fully reinstates Fiji after successful elections and appointment of an elected government. And Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama meets UN Secretary General as elected leader of Fiji. That's all for tonight. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page FBC News. If you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or hashtag FBC News. Until tomorrow evening, Nimo Demanda.
Yoni borong tu mai na Radio Fiji 1 totoka tunan raki na ngona ni ko ni takini yoni nando tu mai na ngono go me do ben ru na ngo pinga rabi na singale ni ko ni sangula binaka oya wana kamana langi na makia na bi mataka mai na diwa kina ruwa na bi singale mai na moni tikina borong bukan Radio Fiji 1 nando mai biti bonga ni bi ani